Hi.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Good evening.
Hello. Hello there.
Oh, hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello. Very nice to see you all. Good evening. So welcome to Embercombe Online. So I am Clémence, I'm Managing Director at Embercombe. I'm going to tell you a bit about Embercombe. So Embercombe is a 50-acre valley in rural Devon. We rewild the land here and we teach in-depth rewilding skills. We facilitate for everyone to reconnect deeply with nature, yourself and each other. And we aim to inspire you to co-create a regenerative and flourishing future for all species. So tonight we are going to be talking about a new program that we created this year. And it's called the Twin Trail, Walking the Pathway of Reciprocity. So the Twin Trail connects you with yourself, your gifts, and how you bring them out into the world. What will happen tonight is that we'll have between 30 and 45 minutes. We will hear from the creators of the course, Macartney and Tugba Kirhan. We talk about their background, why they created the course, what the Twin Trail means. We look at the contents of the course, and we'll look at what you can get out of the course. And then there would be an opportunity for questions. The other thing I need to say is that we're recording this session in order for people who can't attend tonight to be able to see it. So if you don't want to be seen or heard, keep your camera off and type your questions in the chat. We'll pick them up in the end. And this said, we would really enjoy seeing your faces while we talk. So without further ado, let's begin. So the first question goes to both of you, Mac and Kira, and Tugba. Could you tell us about your background?
Of course, I can start. So my name is Tugba, and I was born and raised in Turkey, and I moved to the UK in 2008. I just want to mention a little bit about my childhood. My early childhood, I was so lucky enough to live in a little village where we were so connected to our water. We would get our fresh drinking water from the spring next door, and to our food as well, where we headed from the fields, from our fields or our neighbors. The mountain was opposite our window and the trees were just growing in our doorstep. So I'm so fond of those memories. But later we moved to the town and the city, and the separation started. From my early childhood, that I always had the calling to be in service in some ways. And initially it manifested itself as working in the charity sector, mostly for humanitarian causes. Charities like the VSO and the Red Cross. And funny enough, in one of my placements when I was abroad, that I heard about this place called Embercombe, where dreams and humans and modern humans and nature met and came together. And I remember the first day, it's been a while now, when I entered the doors of Embercombe, the gates of Embercombe, and it was like coming home, away from home for me. And currently I live and work at Embercombe as a program manager and facilitator, co-leading some of our core offerings like the Journey and the Hearth, and now this exciting offering, the Twin Trail, alongside with Mac. I am also a coach and an embodiment and breathwork practitioner.
Thank you, Tugba. And Mac?
Yeah, I'm. Gosh, I've been many things and done many things. I suppose I was a drama teacher. I'm a trained gardener. I had a company importing stained glass from the States, and And I had a landscaping company and did many other things. But eventually, at a certain point in my life, which was full of questions, I just decided I wanted to be outdoors. So I went and became the gardener in a leadership development centre in North Wales. And during that time, there was an incident between two executives. A fight broke out and I intervened, and it went well. So I was taken out of the garden and became a sort of facilitator trainer, and then ended up as the head of consultancy. And I created my own company, and then companies like Unilever and many other large and medium and small businesses we were part of. None of this really was, I did it because I wanted to see if I could. And also I'd worked out that the only way to get land was to try and create your own business, sell it one day, and then have the money to buy the land. But one day, one of my clients did very well and asked me if I had a dream. And I said, yes, it's a valley that I saw in my 20s in a what I would describe as a vision, I suppose. And in that valley, there was woodland and there was water and there were hills and there were people there, and they were asking questions of their lives about meaning and purpose, but also what are my gifts and how do I bring my gifts out into the world and make an impact? And he said, that's wonderful. What do you need? I said, I need the valley. And that's what led to the gift of money that purchased Embercombe, the 50 acres that Clémence referred to. And alongside this, I began a training in 1984 with a group of Native Americans, and that went on for 20 years. And all of that work really was about deepening connection with our Mother Earth, deepening connection with nature, with life, but always with the question, and then having achieved that, how will this be visible in the world? How will this actually translate into choices that in some way or other contribute towards the kind of life that we would like ourselves to lead, of course, but also those who are younger and who are yet to inherit the earth we leave behind us, whether they're human or more than human. So we began Embercombe. Many things have happened since then. Just lastly, just to say that I'm still working with all kinds of organizations, but mostly through speaking, with some workshops and things, and also writing. 2 books so far, another one that's slowly emerging, but not yet.
Thank you, Mac. Thank you. So the next question I have is, why did you both feel that it was important to create the Twin Trail course?
Would you like to go with this too, or shall I?
Yes, I can. I like to bring one angle, and then I'm sure you can bring the other angles, Mac. Obviously, the Twin Trail is what Embercombe is all about, the inner work and outer action. I like to bring something in, another angle around the reciprocity. That's what we call this as well, walking the pathway of reciprocity. And there is this beautiful quotation from one of my favorite books by Robin Wall Kimmerer, where she says, you know, when you love knowing that you love the earth activates you and changes you and activates you to defend and protect and celebrate. But knowing that the earth loves you back turns that one-way relationship into a sacred bond. And I think this is like the best way of describing what reciprocity is. And the reciprocity is not really it's not a linear line. It is not, you know, giving and receiving are not 2 different things and separate from each other, but it is a circular flow, like inhaling and exhaling. So in breath and out breath, and there is a rhythm to that. So we feel like the reciprocity is so closely related to finding our gifts and how we share them, how best we share them with the world, really. So one of the reasons that the program came together is, again, connecting with that sense, with those gifts that we have, and finding ways to bring it to the world.
Thanks, Tugba. I mean, I think I'd add, I mean, it is 60, because you know how when you tell a story, and over a number of years, you suddenly realize you have to adjust the numbers because it's no longer the number that you originally used. I used to say 55. It's now 60 years since my parents initiated a conversation around our table when the three teenage sons there. The question was, what are we doing to our earth, to our air, to our waters, to our soil, and so on? So that's a decade more than half a century. And now we are here. And whatever happens in our human and more than human story going forward, it will not be for lack of information. It won't be for lack of having been warned. These topics and similar topics have been debated and explained endlessly. It'll be probably because, well, for many different reasons, but maybe the urgency never transmitted itself. Maybe we never really felt that we had that much to offer. I don't know, all kinds of different things. Well, one thing's for sure in my mind, this next decade and the one after, and probably the one after that, this is the time when humanity collectively will make a choice. And the outcome of those choices will impact massively upon all other living forms on this earth. So partly for me, the twin trail, because it emphasizes this piece around, if we are to sustain ourselves with everything that's rushing towards us, climate, of course, being the big ticket issue on that, but it isn't just climate, everything that's rushing towards us. If we're to sustain ourselves, we need some kind of profound spiritual depth. And the place that in a way is most obvious and least contentious and doesn't even involve belief is nature, I would say. Really understanding how deeply embedded in nature we are, connected, and feeling that we truly belong and are intertwined, as it were, and in every form, physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. And then combined with that question of how do we show up in the world? And given that from the many, many people that I've worked with now, when you scratch the surface and dig a little deeper, it's amazing how many people have such a low opinion of themselves and their capacity to initiate and impact change in the world. So it feels to me we have to somehow find our way through that. And I'm quite a good case in point, because I was instructed by my Indigenous teachers to go and write a book, and in that book articulate my love of this earth and other things of that kind. To which I replied, I can't possibly do that because I'm no writer and I don't have the skills. And they were completely unimpressed with this answer. They just said, we don't think you heard us right. This isn't a request, it's an instruction. We wish you to go and write a book. When are we likely to see it published? So I just thought or hoped that this was something which would, they'd forget about it after a while, but that was that. And the other one, we want you to go and speak because we know what's in your heart and we wish you to be heard, most of all in the business circles of which you're a part. And I said, well, you've really put your finger on the button because you've just touched the thing I find more terrifying than anything else. And they smiled and nodded. and said, yes, that's fine. To which I said, well, no, it isn't really fine, because I am actually terrified, and I rather do anything other than stand on a stage and speak in the way that you've described. And then they got a little bit more serious, and they said, Matt, you still seem to be thinking this is a request. It isn't, it's an instruction. And if you refuse the instruction, then we will have to ask whether you are serious about your love of this earth and her people and all beings. So facing my terror and sense of complete inadequacy to the task, the physical reality of panic attacks that could disable me, a great fear of humiliation, I've had to walk through these in order to now arrive at a situation where probably speaking is the single biggest piece of work, if you like, that I do. So I feel I can have some authority speaking on this. We're not all speakers. We're not all makers. We're not all thinkers. We're not all creators. We're not all musicians, and so on and so forth. But I would say each of us has a gift. We have our life experience and all the things that that's taught us. And the Twin Trail attempts to do two things: assist each person to go deeper and more securely into a spiritual practice that, as I say, doesn't involve belief, but fully embraces a sense of deep belonging and connection with life, with nature, and an absolute commitment to see this translated generously and energetically into the world in whatever way is right for that particular individual. And then lastly, just to add to that, so we don't have to be like each other. In fact, it'd be really helpful if we weren't. And the only thing that's really important is that we just, whatever is true for us, whatever is right for us in our situation, that we then take that out into the world. And lastly, that's why we've made this program extended over a number of months, in order to give people the opportunity and the chance to, as it were, sink deeper, get purchase, become used to the idea, move to the next step, develop confidence, find traction, move to the next step, and so on and so forth over a period of time.
Thank you both. Great, so that takes us to the next question, which is about the contents of the course. So could you speak us through the different modules?
Yes, I can start with that. So as Max said, that it was consciously divided into different modules, and we realized that how important the integration part is for every course. That we find that those week-long courses or a few days long courses are great, and we can have profound, enriching experiences. But if we cannot integrate them to our daily lives, then they become those lovely experiences and they stand on their own. So in this course, we're hoping to get that and spread it out and then be connected with it and then move it to our day-to-day lives. So as every journey starts with preparation, we think the first module, which is online, will be held online, in some ways a preparation for this journey. And we will meet together as a group, and there will be some invitations that can be taken, which will involve some self-reflection and perhaps getting some information from people around you. And also we will assign you a coach that you will work on a one-to-one basis to really set your intentions and prepare yourself for this journey. And then for the first time, we will meet as a group in person in the heart of Dartmoor on the Brims Farm, which is this incredibly magical place and where the River Dart is, flowing. And we will have set up our village for our week that we will spend together. And this module will really focus on our communication with nature and all the beings on nature. And we are very lucky to have 2 other facilitators joining us. One of them is Stephan. He's an ecologist and also an author and a lecturer at Schumacher College. And he will take us to a deep time walk where we will witness the journey of our Earth that has been on, for billions of years. And it will be an invitation to view the world differently and be an advocate for a regenerative Earth. And we will also have Saskia von Diest joining us, and she will be actually with us from the beginning and to the end. And Saskia's work is really unique, and she really deepens that nature communication and helps even to human behavior to change effectively through this communication. So rather than just seeing what we see, but really internalizing and feeling and using intuition to make that communication and connection. So we will learn how to listen deeply and be with the land and really look at that inner side. And there are lots of elements to it which I don't want to share everything. That will be quite a lovely surprise, but it will be a very deepening experience. And then we will move on to the 3rd module, which will be, we will be coming back to our homeland, to Embercombe. And now from that inner world that we are opening to the outer world, the outer action. So we will be harvesting what we have gained along the way. And we will be really working on how we can embody what we've got in our day-to-day lives. And in some ways, some parts of this module will be emergent because it will really depend on the unique gifts and abilities that people will bring, and there will be co-creation to that. I should also add that we saw the necessity to add an extra module, which we call the mid-phase review between the 2nd and the 3rd module. So this will be, again, a time for us to see where we are at, reflecting on our experiences and looking into where we are heading. I'd also say that there will be some, in between modules, there will be some what we don't call homework. So it's kind of some form of work that will take us to work, to home, basically, and that you will be always engaged in this process. And then lastly, we will have the last online gathering, where this time we will be looking into what we again gathered and then making really concrete, perhaps intention and steps towards how we can bring it to life. You will again be assigned a coach to do this, and after the last gathering, and that will also help you with what now and what is next, basically. And we won't be gathering on a monthly basis or on a not regular basis, but apart from those modules, there will be a thread between us. We will be all connected, an invisible thread, perhaps, when we are going out to the land and getting engaged with the invitations that have been webbed. So we will be always connected in this process.
Well, I don't really have anything particularly helpful to add to that, Tugba, which I think you've gone through the whole piece. Could you just say how many months does the whole program span?
9 months.
9 months. That's a very appropriate period of time. Great.
Thank you both. So my last question is about what you think participants will get out of the course. Could you let us know a bit more about that?
Yeah, so I can speak first. I have to admit I have a certain difficulty with this idea of getting something out of it. So in the spirit of that phrase, ask not what life will give to you or the earth will give to you, ask what you will give to life. I rather think that is the essence of the Twin Trail. The curious thing for me is that every step we take every time we strengthen and become embodied in our connection and love of life, and move in service to things and beings and forms of life greater than our own tiny little circle of our own personal family and intimate friends, which is not to say they're not important, but beyond that, we grow happier. And that's so strange, because you ask people, what is it you desire most? And an awful lot of people will say to be happy. They might say to be wealthy, but they really mean to be happy, as it were, because they imagine that being wealthy will mean that they can be happy because they can buy whatever they want or whatever it is. And that's what I would say, everything that Embercombe is sharing takes you closer to that place of being truly happy in your own skin, walking this life and knowing that you're having impact. And the Twin Trail program really zones in on this. And it says, you know, you grow deeper in your sense of belonging and connection to life. What does that bring you? It brings you a deep sense of peacefulness, a deep sense of you're born at the right time, in the right place, in the right era to do something, to bring yourself forward. It says, how will this be seen and observable in life? And then that gets answered. But I want to emphasize, it's not necessarily huge, big things. We get a bit hung up, I think, on the idea that somehow we're being invited to be, you know, heroes or sheroes, as it were, you know, out in life. And that's not what the Twin Trail is about. It's saying, let's gently, peacefully, lovingly inquire this question so that there's no judgment between, you know, will this give you a massive following on social media sort of thing, or will this earn you a fortune in money or whatever else? It's simply saying, will you have the feeling that you have lived this life well, that you have, as it were, done what was asked of you? And I can't imagine, you know, a sort of a insurance policy that's more likely to turn up trumps than finding yourself close to death and knowing, feeling that wonderful glowing feeling that at a time when there was so much need, that you gave yourself a happy life that so many of us, and fulfilled life that so many of us would desire, whilst also generously and forever, by the way, because there's no retirement age, as you can see on your screen from this. There is no retirement age. It's till death do us part, all the way till your last breath. And what a wonderful thing that is. Excuse me, I've got my little boys just come to say goodnight.
Thank you, Matt. And great. So, and Tugba, do you want to add anything to this? Or?
I think I just want to say that you might actually get an answer, find an answer to the question, what does it mean to be whole in this program?
Wow. Cool. Great. Well, so now we looking, before we go into question time, if anyone's got any question, we're going to look at practicals very quickly. So just so we've said, the program is for 9 months, so it starts on the 24th of April and it ends on the 12th of December this year. I just wanted to speak quickly about different payment plans that we offer as well, because that can be a way for the programs to be more accessible to you, we're hoping anyway. So So we offer different prices. There's a regular price that most of you will pay, and there's also a supporter price that is for people who can afford to pay a bit more and allows for people who can't pay as much to benefit from a bursary on the program. So if you'd like to apply for a bursary, you can contact us at support@embercombe.org. And then in terms of the payment plan, we have an interest-free payment plan, which allows you to spread the payments over 7 months. The way it works is that you pay the deposit, which is 25% of the total, and then you pay 15% before the start of the program. That gets us to 40%, and then you pay the rest, the 60%, interest-free installments. All you need to do is to have paid for the whole course a month before the end of the program, so the first week of November. And all of this is on the payments page. So, and if you have any issues, please contact us. I'm just gonna post that in the chat. And now is the time for questions. So you can ask your questions to Tugba or Mac, and please unmute yourselves and speak if you have any questions, or type them in the chat. Do we have any question? Anyone would like to unmute themselves?
Oh, hi.
Hello.
Two questions, really. Do you have to have done the journey first, or would it be advantageous to have done the journey first? And the second question is, do you need to be physically able to do the course?
Thank you. Who would like to answer?
Well, the program is designed in a way so that people who haven't done the Journey or the Heart can still come and get a lot out of it. So you're welcome to join it. And the Journey is one of our fundamentals, and we really love everyone to do that as well. But there is no obligation or absolute necessity for you to do the Journey before you can do the Twin Trail. And in terms of mobility, the second module requires some walking in the moor and moving around, and we will be, camping, etc. So that would require some mobility, some ability to walk around freely, and some, not like a super physical fitness, but still a bit of fitness levels, really.
Okay, thank you.
If I can add to that, people sometimes say, do I need to be fit? And I say you need to be averagely unfit, but perhaps not more. So
okay,
yeah. I mean, when we talk about walking on Dartmoor, we are talking about walking on trails or footpaths, and we have already considered this and thought, well, at least we would have a shorter route that would be very manageable for an average person, probably if they walk non-stop, to do it in an hour or something like that. And then we have a long, which would be more like, say, 3 hours, perhaps 2 hours even, maybe something like that. And that's both from the point of view of people's health and mobility, but also from the point of view of weather, because it's not meant to be a arduous training program. And if I can just also add around the journey and things, so I just want to emphasize there would be no disadvantage of any significance to not doing the journey first. Okay, there would be, perhaps if there were a few people on the program that had done the journey, then there might need to be an explanation of some term that they're familiar with. But beyond that, no, And of course, Tugba's right, we love people to come on the journey, but I want to really emphasize you don't need to have done it in order to get as much as anybody else from the Twin Trail.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You. So, do you have any more questions from anyone else who'd like to type them up or unmute themselves? Just going to wait a bit more just in case there's another question coming.
While waiting, can I add something?
Please.
Just wanted to mention that obviously there are now 3 online dates. And I just wanted to say that if you're unable to make the online dates, that is okay. Obviously, we would like everyone to be there live. However, we will be having recordings, which we can share with those people who can't attend the online sessions.
Yeah, that's an important point. Thank you, Tugba. All right, okay. So, Paul, do you have another question? I think you're on mute, Paul. So if you unmute yourself.
Yeah. The camping. When is it likely to be?
It is in June, on the 9th of June till the 17th, I believe.
Okay. All right. That's important. I've got a clash, unfortunately, then.
Okay.
Any other questions you have, Paul, or anyone else?
Can I just check too, but that's arrival on the 9th, is it? And departure on the 17th?
9th on arrival, and departure is in 7 days' time from the 9th. So.
Okay.
Yeah, so it would be 15th of July would be the departure date.
9th to the 15th.
Yes.
All right, well, thanks for the correction there. All right, well, I think we are coming to the end of our time. Thank you very much, Mac and Tugba, and to everyone who's joined us tonight. We hope that answered all your questions about the Twin Trail, and we hope to see you soon. If you have any other questions, you can contact us at support@embercombe.org, and we'll be very happy to answer them. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.